Hey friends, so good to see you again today. I'm here with my green beans. As you can see, they're doing really well, growing very tall, very happy, and it makes me happy when I see them doing so well like that. Um, so we've been talking about the kingdom of God this month, and especially using pieces of nature to help us know the kingdom of God because that's what Jesus did. Jesus told stories and used the world around him to help us understand more about who God is, what this kingdom of God is all about, and how we can be part of it. So, having these green beans growing with us is not only a great reminder of Compassion Camp and all the things we talked about there, but also a reminder of these stories about the kingdom of God and it being surrounded by it everywhere. So today we're going to talk about weeds. I hate weeding. It takes a lot of time. Those roots can grow really deep sometimes, and it's really hard to get them out. But do any of you know what a weed actually is? A weed essentially is defined as just anything somewhere you don't want it to be. Some would also say that a weed is anything that doesn't serve a purpose. So it has to do with purposefulness and intention, and if that was really meant to grow there. So as we think about what makes something a weed or not, I have a little game for us. Let's play it. You're going to see a picture and guess to yourself if you think it's a weed or if it's meant to be. And you'll see. And I'll tell you the answers. And then by the end of it, you can kind of see how well you did. All right, let's play. So, how did you do? I bet some of those were really easy and maybe one or two of them not as easy. And what makes it really hard is some of those pictures, maybe you needed to see a bigger context of the picture to really understand if it would have been a weed or not. What's interesting about weeds is that we sometimes think it's easy to spot them, see them, pull them up right away, gotta get them out of there. And that's true of some weeds. The faster you pull them up, the better it is for everything around it. But like what we hear in the parable today, sometimes if you act too quickly, you might actually be hurting the things growing around it. And I think it's kind of interesting that Jesus tells a story about weeds and wheat and their need to grow together and comparing that to the kingdom of God. Because I think it says something to us about the fact that we don't always know the full context. We don't always know what's going on with God's kingdom and how God is working in these things that at first glance we might consider a weed, but maybe God is doing something more there. Maybe there's something about the intention and purpose of that we don't fully see and recognize. So as you look at the weeds out in the world today, maybe go help your parents in the garden, because weeds are really irritating and we do need help pulling them up. I also want you to think about the fact that we don't always know the full picture. And especially when it comes to how we look at other people and judge others, maybe what we see at first glance is not what it's all about. And we really don't know what God is doing there. So that's why it's important to always remember to pray and trust God with what's going on in God's kingdom. It's not always up to us to judge and see and act quickly on things. So some things take some time, like our things growing in the garden, like our green beans, and some things can be taken care of pretty quickly. But in all of those things, we trust God's timing and God's action above our own. So I hope you have a good day today and go enjoy the sunshine.